Psalm chapter 3, verses 1 through 8. King David, the author, is amidst despair and trouble. His beloved son Absalom has turned against him in a violent attempt to become king. 2 Samuel chapter 13, verses 22, 29, 39, chapter 14, verse 33, chapter 15, verse 12 and 31, and verses 13 through 14. Chapter 16, 8, 21, and chapter 17, 1. Much of David's life had encountered many foes. Among them, some have tried to kill him. David responded by turning to God in prayer. Quote, "O Lord, how many are my foes? How many rise up against me? When despondent circumstances, like a torment of rain and hail, befall me, I open my soul to the Prince of Peace, a shelter amidst the storm." If Absalom's personal attack wasn't devastating enough, David overheard many during his prayer. God will not deliver him. Misfortune exposes shallow, ice-cold love, a faithful friend who can find. Jesus is often the only friend who bears my burden with me. The Lord sustains me. After prayer, peace that passes understanding warms my bed. The bed of David lies down and he sleeps. Quote, I will not fear the tens of thousands drawn up against me on every side. Arise, O Lord, deliver me, O my God. Strike all my enemies on the jaw. Break the teeth of the wicked. David experienced from the Lord comes deliverance. The turbulent clouds rushed off, and the warm sun dried the tears from the clouds. May your blessing be on your people.
Psalm 3. A psalm of David when he fled from his son Absalom. O Lord, how many are my foes? How many rise up against me? Many are saying of me, God will not deliver him. Selah. But you are a shield around me, O Lord. You bestow glory on me and lift up my head. To the Lord I cry aloud, and he answers me from his holy hill. Selah. I lie down and sleep. I wake again because the Lord sustains me. I will not fear the tens of thousands drawn up against me on every side. Arise, O Lord, deliver me, O my God. Strike all my enemies on the jaw. Break the teeth of the wicked. From the Lord comes deliverance. May your blessing be on your people. Selah.
Psalm chapter 4, verses 1 through 4. David, the author, is calling on the Lord his God. He beseeched God to answer his prayer. David asked for relief from his distress. Anxiety has entered his soul, weighing him down like an elephant sitting on his chest, and a methodical drum pounds in his head. He seeks God's mercy. David knows his God is kind to his people. He will hear him. God has set apart a people for himself. They are his godly people. The godly are devoted to God, faithful to the Lord. God is faithful to them. A strong love and respect relationships exist between God and the godly. They pray to him and he hears them. David knows this as he seeks relief from his distress from God. Anxiety is a problem to bring to God. Thoughts that exasperate can consume and degrade life. Anger, even anger against evil, can control and weaken a soul. The sin that I will later regret can follow bouts of anxiety and anger. David shows me to seek God in meditation and prayer when stressful, anxious thoughts persist and plunge me into a dark, deep hole. Ask, and God will help me search my heart. Ask, and God will silence my soul. Though men turn my glory to shame, God will lift me from the thoughts of the depths. Psalm chapter 4, verses 5 through 8. David called to the Lord in anxiety and distress. The Lord heard and stilled his soul. David searched his heart in the silence of a dark night. The light of the morning star calmed and quieted. He meditated on his bed instead of sinning. The thought entered his mind: offer right sacrifices and trust in the Lord. Many asked the cynical and rhetorical question: who can show us any good? David, in the face of widespread uncertainty, prays for the Lord to bless. When he said, quote, let the light of your face shine upon us, O Lord, he was asking the Lord to bless them with not only his presence, but also his undivided attention and favor. David not only prayed for his own relief, but for others too. Many responses to unsettling times persist: fear, doubt, anger, violence, hopelessness, self pity, and sin. The one that is greater joy than food and wine is the peace and tranquility of the presence of the Lord. How can I obtain a satisfied heart? Seek the Lord. Be quiet and rest. Meditate on God and His goodness. Know that He is Lord. Do not sin. Offer right sacrifices. Sing songs of praise. Then, quote, I will lie down and sleep in peace, for you alone, O Lord, make me dwell in safety.
Psalm 4. For the director of music with stringed instruments, a psalm of David. Answer me when I call to you, O my righteous God. Give me relief from my distress. Be merciful to me and hear my prayer. How long, O men, will you turn my glory into shame? How long will you love delusions and seek false gods? Selah. Know that the Lord has set apart the godly for himself. The Lord will hear when I call to him. In your anger do not sin. When you are on your beds, search your hearts and be silent. Selah. Offer right sacrifices and trust in the Lord. Many are asking, who can show us any good? Let the light of your face shine upon us, O Lord. You have filled my heart with greater joy than when their grain and new wine abound. I will lie down and sleep in peace, for you alone, O Lord, make me dwell in safety.
Psalm chapter 5, verses 1 through 6. Prayer for David was a regular morning routine. Prayer for David was communicating and communion with his God, his King, and his Lord. This personal psalm starts with David asking God to give an ear to his word and sighs. David is crying to his God and King for help. God hears not only his word, but he feels sighs. My God experiences my emotions and troubles with me. Factual statements about God are professed. God takes no pleasure in evil, hates all who do wrong, destroys liars, and abhors bloodthirsty and deceitful. The wicked do not dwell with God. The arrogant cannot stand in God's presence. Knowing these, and the magnificence of God compels me to be the opposite. Is it possible for me and anyone to come to God in prayer, for all sin and fall short of the glory of God? Is there any hope for the spiritually starving, repenting soul? Yes. God does have mercy and grace through his Son. By his stripes I have been healed. By his blood I am forgiven. By the punishment he received in my place, I can enter the throne room of the Holy One. Through Jesus, I have communication and communion with my God. Psalm chapter 5, verses 7 and 8. David has great respect for the Lord. Reverence is a feeling of profound awe, respect, and love. In God's mercy and righteousness, David trusts. He tells the Lord that he will come into God's house and bow down toward God, his holy temple. The house and holy temple that David is speaking of is not the temple in Jerusalem, which was not built until after David died. David instructed his son Solomon to build the temple on Mount Zion in Jerusalem. Rather, David is speaking of the Lord's home in heaven. The holy temple is in heaven. By God's grace, David knew he would worship God in the holy temple in heaven. David had many enemies. He knew his final resting place would be in heaven, where he would worship his God. But he did not know the way he should go between now and his final resting place. He asked God to lead him, to show him the way he should go. David wanted God to direct him because of his enemies. I too have enemies, those who enjoy harassing me and telling lies about me. Like David's enemies, they are bloodthirsty and deceitful. I know my final destiny is with my God in heaven. Until then, Lord, like David, show me the way. Lead me. Have mercy on me. Then bring me to your house, your holy temple. Psalm chapter 5, verses 9 through 12. David's enemies spoke lies about him. Not a word from their mouth can be trusted. Their heart, the source of the lies, is filled with destruction. David did not take revenge against his enemies' lies. He did not strike out against them. He may have been king when he wrote these words. He may have been running from Saul in the desert, on lowly places. He may have been a soldier in the army when Saul was king. He did not take revenge. Instead, he brought his anguish to God in prayer. He asked God to declare them guilty and banish them. David is not alone, and he knows it. He knew others experienced this too. He prayed for them, quote, "Let all who take refuge in you be glad. Let them ever sing for joy. Spread your protection over them, that those who love your name may rejoice in you. For surely, O Lord, you bless the righteous. You surround them with your favor as with a shield." The righteous will have enemies who spread lies, yet the Lord does bless the righteous. He surrounds them with his favor. Some may ask, how can having enemies who spread lies about them be God's favor? Others know that this was also the way they treated Jesus, the Son of God, who went about doing good. Jesus told us, quote, "If this is the way they treated me, then they will treat you this way too. All will hate you on account of me." Mark chapter 13, verse 9, and John 15:21.
Psalm 5. For the director of music for flutes, a psalm of David. Give ear to my words, O Lord, consider my sighing. Listen to my cry for help, my King and my God, for to you I pray. In the morning, O Lord, you hear my voice. In the morning I lay my requests before you and wait in expectation. You are not a God who takes pleasure in evil. With you the wicked cannot dwell. The arrogant cannot stand in your presence. You hate all who do wrong. You destroy those who tell lies. Bloodthirsty and deceitful men the Lord abhors. But I, by your great mercy, will come into your house. In reverence I will bow down toward your holy temple. Lead me, O Lord, in your righteousness, because of my enemies. Make straight your way before me. Not a word from their mouth can be trusted. Their heart is filled with destruction. Their throat is an open grave. With their tongue they speak deceit. Declare them guilty, O God. Let their intrigues be their downfall. Banish them for their many sins, for they have rebelled against you. But let all who take refuge in you be glad. Let them ever sing for joy. Spread your protection over them, that those who love your name may rejoice in you. For surely, O Lord, you bless the righteous. You surround them with your favor as with a shield.
BDBD is sponsored by FreeBibleStudyHelp.com, home of Bible study, question sheets, commentaries, and information to help the individual and small group study the Bible.